Hey creatives, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Nele and I make videos about bullet journaling, creativity and self-compassion. As the title of today's video suggests, we are setting up my bullet journal for 2024 today. I can't believe it. And I know that this video might seem a bit early because it's still beginning of November. But there are two reasons why I'm already setting up my bullet journal, and one is that I am just getting excited for that basically in the middle of the year already, and I can't wait to set up a new bullet journal. And the second reason is that I decided to start my new journal in December. Because if you have been on my channel before, I like to plan with the seasons now, and winter starts in December, and so that's a good start for a new journal. But let's get into the setup, which we already did. As you can tell, I printed out quite a few things for the setup, such as a grid spacing guide. I printed out some book kind of looking pages on toffee stain paper. And I also decided to print out a key and a different kind of index. All those things, as well as some mini calendars for a year at a glance and my future log. And if you want to use those resources as well, you can jump over to my Patreon and download them there for free as a PDF, and then you can print them out and use them in your bullet journal as well. Yeah, and here, while I was talking about that stuff, I was setting up on the left side, the inside of my notebook cover, the grid spacing guide with the key. I have that there so that I can reference that easily. And next to that, I have my cover page for the year, which is usually the nameplate page, but I don't really see the purpose in that, so I use that as a cover page. And then I glue together the cover page and the first weird page of the notebook. And this is where the index in this notebook is, which is, by the way, a Leuchtturm 1917 with 80 GSM paper. Not the typical choice for creative bullet journals, but I fell in love with it again, and this is what I chose for 2024 in this beautiful dark green. And yeah, it comes with an index already, but we are customizing this journal as much as I like, and I decided to create a little pocket in the front of the notebook, even though it has one in the back as well. But I figured that I have a few things that I like to reference more often, such as a self-care list and my little book with the seasons of the year, and I like to have that in the front where I can find it more easily than in the back, where I usually store stickers and random pieces of paper and stuff like that. So this is what this little pocket is for, and for the pocket I just cut out a piece of cardboard, and as you saw, I simply taped the corners down with some glue tape. And yeah, it sits pretty tight, so I think the stuff I put in it won't fall out easily, so I think that will work alright. And then I just decorated a little bit with some stickers, washi tape, a stamp. A lot of the supplies that I'm using are a mix of things I ordered from Temu and other cheap places, as well as a package of scrapbooking things that I got from Amazon. But as always, I won't take the time to link all of that stuff in the description because I just don't have the patience. If you want to know where something specific is from, just ask me and I try to find it, and so that you can have a look at it. And next to the pocket page, I decided to do a year at a glance with my pre-made mini calendars. And if you want to print them out, I decided to resize them a bit because they turn out a bit too big, so that you won't have such a big page with that. And since we just covered up my the next pages of the notebook, I still wanted to have them in there, but I also customized the index itself for me a little bit and printed it out to stick it onto these pages now. And what I have realized with the pre-made index from the Leuchtturm journal is that there's too little space for pages, because I do have collections that come up every once in a while. For example, if I do some tarot card drawing or therapy notes, then I just know the next pages where it's on next to the already existing page, and so I needed a bit more space, and this is what I created on the printable. And then I decided to create some tabs again in this yearly setup, which I have done in my 2023 first bullet journal setup. And I missed that a little bit in my recent journal, because it always gives me a bit of an overview which pages are my yearly pages, and I find it easier to navigate through the pages then, and this is why I'm doing that. And you probably already could tell that the theme that I was going for with the setup is kind of this vintage scrapbooking and a little magic theme. And I believe I've talked about it in my September setup before, that I was thinking about making a whole journal in this kind of magic scrapbooking vintage style. Somewhat like that. I'm not exactly sure how I would do that, but long story short, I decided to go for that. And here you can see me creating my future log, and for that again I created these little printable calendars, and I used some illustrations from FreePic that all have some kind of magic vibe to them, and I really like how they turn out, and especially printed on the craft paper. So if you decide to download these, I can highly recommend printing them out on craft paper, especially if it's a bit thinner one. I even purchased some extra thin craft paper because I don't like it when it is too thick in my journal, especially with thin pages. And next up we have my goals page, which is pretty much similar to the one I had in my last journal in the second half of 2023. I am not too intense with setting my goals. I like to write them down, but it's not like I do an intense planning process or anything. So I have different sections, and one is a simple 2024 goals section. Then I decided to do a 2024 wishes section, and then on the right page we have long-term goals and something that I call maybe someday, which is some ideas and things that I could imagine but that I'm not sure about if that's really a goal I want to tackle, or if it's just something that I want to think about a little bit and then just decide not to do it. Next up we have a little magic spread, which is a tarot spread, and I decorated that with some sticker and with some other sticker that I printed out on my thermal printer with illustration from FreePic again. You can find beautiful magic illustrations there, by the way. And if I haven't said it already, it is a page for my tarot cards that I will draw for the year, and just to have a little magic fun, and yeah, I like to do that. And next to that we have a page for general to-dos that cross my mind and that have no specific time when I want to get them done. And we are already one step further on the next spread, which is a general Nele's Notes spread where I can drop down ideas for my YouTube channel, for my Patreon, for all those stuff, for other things that come to my mind. I have a lot of ideas, and a lot of times I don't have the time or patience to go with them, but writing them down is always a good idea to keep track of them. And so yeah, left page, YouTube ideas, right page, Patreon, and other ideas. It's pretty self-explanatory, I think. Then we have my financial spread, and I decided to change it a little bit because in my last journal I just had a general overview of my income and my fixed bills, and I rarely ever reference that, but it's still good to have, so I keep that on the left page. And then I decided to try tracking my finances again. That was something that I wanted to do in the first half of 2023, but I failed at it because I think I didn't have the right system. But now that I started to track my finances through the month and write down my expenses and my income and all that stuff, I have a better overview and understanding where my money goes, instead of when I just look at my bank account at the end of the month and I am confused by the statistics that it gives me when there's so much different things happening on my bank account. That's too much detail, but long story short, I decided to create a monthly overview where I can track my income, my spending, and the total balance of that from December to May, because that's how long I plan to use this journal and then move into the second half of the year. And underneath that, I also created a little space to keep track of my savings and my saving goals and how that is going, all that stuff. And I think that is pretty interesting to see, because I always thought that I'm really bad with financial stuff, and so seeing that things have changed and that I slowly get into that is a good sign that I'm adulting. I don't know if that's actually a good sign, I guess. And moving on, I'm creating a wish list because that definitely helps me a little bit to have a bit more control over my impulsive spending and shopping, and really thinking about if I actually need the things that I want to buy or if it's just a impulsive spending. And then on the other page, I have a space for gift ideas and some date nights and travel ideas, which sometimes I use that, sometimes I don't, but whenever I don't include that in my bullet journal, I start to miss it. So I have it here just in case I might want to use it, but it could be that I don't really fill this page out a lot. But that's okay, yeah. And then we are actually already at the last spread, which is my kind of time capsule where I write about who I am at the moment and who I want to become in the next year. And that is always a nice thing to look back. And now we are just going through all the pages again and looking at the decoration and doing some final touches, how they say it in the home decor bubble, I guess. So we are doing final touches on my notebook. I decided to cover the tabs with some washi tape and not write down what actually is on the pages. It just makes the flipping through the pages easier, and I know where my yearly setup starts and ends. But I think I talked about the tabs enough. And by the way, this is the next day. I decided to light a candle. I got myself a little coffee here. Because this setup actually took quite a little bit of time, I think, and overall I took about 3.5 hours maybe for everything. But this is, I always say that I think time that I think is well spent, because I enjoy being creative. I like to have a pretty notebook, and for me this is just a little bit of self-care time. But if you don't like to spend that much time making a notebook pretty, then please don't feel pressured. It's totally fine if you just keep it really minimalist and just with bare handwriting, and just keep your focus on the functional part of bullet journaling. That's totally fine. You don't have to make it pretty, but you can if that is something you enjoy. Something that I did change in the setup compared to my last one, the second half of 2023 setup, is that I left out the health spread that I did for the last few notebooks I had. And that is because I just didn't really use it. And whenever I have something, I can write it down at the part in the journal where I'm actually at. I don't need a whole spread for that anymore. And this is just a good sign that things change over time and that your journal adapts with that. And you can always decide to change things up, and this is really what I love about the bullet journal method and why it works so wonderfully for me, because whenever I would have just bought a simple planner in the past, before 2017, when I actually started bullet journaling, it would have stopped working for me pretty quickly. And so with the bullet journal, I can always create something that fits my needs at the time, and my needs change quite a bit. This is why bullet journaling works incredibly well for me, and I do love combining that with my creativity and creating something that I enjoy using. But again, that's just the way I journal, and that is not what you have to do as well. And as you can see, I did get myself some golden watercolors and decided to add some bit of extra magic and sparkles to my pages, which, to be honest, a few years ago I saw that on YouTube and I thought it was so over the top to actually get some special watercolor in gold just to make it sparkle more than with a normal gel pen. But I do see it now. I do see that this actually looks so freaking beautiful. And it took quite a bit of time, and I did not film every single page of this because I think you get what I did pretty quickly probably, but it really gave the pages a little bit of magic that I wanted. As you can see here on the page with the year at a glance and the pocket, there was a little mistake happening because I tried to cut through the vintage paper underneath the mini calendars with a cutting knife, and I did that too hard, and so unfortunately I cut through the notebook page and it nearly cut through, so I had to fix it with some clear tape, and that might not look totally aesthetically pleasing, but shit like that happens sometimes, so you just gotta live with that, and that's fine. So yeah, I'm actually not quite sure what else to tell you here. As I said, I want to try to keep up with the magic in my bullet journal for 2024, because that is something that I'm just totally into at the moment. I guess I try to avoid saying or getting into aesthetic trends and something, and I don't really want to label that because I don't know, I think that's something that the young people of today do, and I recently already discovered that with 25 you're not actually one of those young people anymore. I guess in the end that's exactly what I'm doing here. I could call that, I don't know, dark academia, witchy core or something like that. I have no idea. But in the end, I just enjoy things that look a bit magical, a little bit witchy, and that give me a good feeling and that I can enjoy. And so why not try make a whole journal with that, I guess. I don't know if that made any sense and I'm just rambling here, but as I said, I kind of ran out of words a little bit. Yeah. On the pages where I wrote with the gel pen on the vintage coffee stained paper, I went over with the gold watercolor and a brush pen because even though you can see the writing quite good on the camera, it was a bit hard to see that in normal daylight, so I decided to go over that. Didn't turn out super perfect, but that's fine, doesn't have to turn out perfect. I try to tell you that all the time, I guess. It does not have to look perfect. You just have to be okay with it. So yeah, here I'm just using a little bit of editing magic to get the process of the sparkles a bit quicker, and here we are already at the final flip through. I am beyond excited to use this notebook. I really love how the pages turned out, and I can't wait to, set new goals, get into the whole new year, new me phase. And I hope that this video was inspiring to you. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you can get some ideas out of it. I would like to know if someone else here is as crazy as me and likes to set up their journal months in advance, or if I'm just the only one being super excited about that stuff. So let me know in the comments, and I hope that you have a good start into the new year, that you get through winter good, and I hope that I see you here on the channel, that you stick around. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe and like my video. That really motivates me and helps me, and I would love to have you here. So yeah, that's always an option. And check out my Patreon if you want some free printables. All the links are in the description. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely time, and I hope that I see you in my next video. Bye!